Alright, so welcome back to another episode. I'm kind of sick, so my voice might be choppy, but today we're going to add actual shooting into the game, and we're going to start by opening up our player controller script. And we actually already have a shoot function here, that's good. Now we're going to add in some logic here, and so we do not actually have a reference to the player camera, which we're going to need so we can send a bullet out of the center of the camera because we want the player to shoot wherever the camera is looking. So I'm going to make another serialized field here, camera, there, camera. And now if we go down here to our shoot, we can say player camera, actually let's do ray equals player camera dot screen point to ray vector new vector 3 0.5 and that's going to generate a new ray that comes out of the center of our screen. And we're also going to add a raycast hit. Okay, so we're going to do the actual raycasting in physics. Raycast ray. Let me see what actually here is. There we go. Out hit. And we need to put out here because it's going to take in this variable, set some data about it, and send it out again with that data. Max distance, this is how far our player is going to be able to shoot. We'll just set this to 100, 1000 for now, maybe. And layer mask we'll set as -1 for now, which means all layers. And so now, if we open this function, so this is saying if we hit something when we shoot our bullet, then this is the logic that we'll have after this when we hit our bullet. So we'll instantiate a bullet effect, and we'll see if it can be damaged, and if it can be damaged, then we'll damage it. So we're gonna let's go actually back into Unity. I'm going to make a new script called, it's going to be an interface. We're going to call it iDamageable. If we open this up in Visual Studio, I'm going to delete all of this, and we're going to have public interface iDamageable. And we are going to have public void on take damage float damage. Not public, just void. And so what we can do with this is we can add this to, we can have another class inherit from iDamageable, which is the interface. And if we inherit from iDamageable, then we require this function. It's a little complicated, but we're just gonna go along with it, and you'll see how it works in a minute here. So I'm gonna make a cube here, which I'm going to set as our test object to damage for now. And I'm going to add a new component called enemy. And we are going to open that in Visual Studio. And up here, after mono behavior, we're going to put iDamageable. And so now our enemy class will inherit from iDamageable. And as you can see, there's some squiggly red lines in there. And that's because we actually need a public void on take damage. And in here we have float damage. And so now we have inherited iDamageable. And so now we have a damage function here, which can be called from our player controller. So in our shoot logic here, if actually let's do iDamageable equals hit dot collider dot get component iDamageable. And so this is going to, from our collider that we've hit with our bullet, it's going to get the component iDamageable, which is our interface that we created, which has this function in it. And so using that interface, if damageable, so if damageable not equals null, so if we can't actually, if we are able to damage this object, then we'll do damageable dot take damage. and we'll just set something like 25F for now, and that'll be our damage value, and we can tweak that for different weapons later. So in our enemy class, I'm going to add a float health, and a float max health, const float max health, and we'll set this to 100, and health equals max health. And on take damage, we'll do health minus equals damage, and if health is less than or equal to 0, then we will die. And here we're going to make a die function, and in our die function we are just going to destroy this game object. And I'm also going to delete these functions here, just to make it a little bit cleaner. So in theory, if we were to wait for these scripts to compile and start the game, if we click, so we put the shooting animation, and now we forgot to assign the player camera to our player. So in here, I forgot to drag in the camera here. I'll just apply this to the prefab. And so now if we start the game, then we can't kill it. Nice. So now it's time to do a bit of debugging to figure out why this isn't working. Let's see. Let's add a debug statement here. So if that debug statement is called leaf shot, we've hit something. Damage. So this will tell us if we click, if we get here, it'll tell us shooting. If we hit something, it'll tell us hit. And if we damage something, it'll tell us damage. And that's just gonna help us with it. So it's shooting, it hit, but it doesn't call damage. Does this have our enemy? It does, and it has iDamageable. Okay, so I found the problem, and it's actually that we are using the wrong function here. Screen point to array takes in a screen pixel x and y, and so what we've been doing here is we're sending array from the very bottom left corner of the screen, which is not what we want. So what we actually want is viewport point to array. And so now if we play here, that should, there we go. So we can kill the enemy if we shoot it 4 times, because we do 25 damage and the enemy has 100 health. So now that we can kill it, I'd like to add some effects in. So I'm going to create, let's create empty here. I'm going to reset its position and call it bullet hit. Now in here I think I'm going to add 3D object quad. Let's actually move this out a bit so we can see what we're doing. And I'm going to rotate this quad so that it's facing upwards like that. And let's go into a paint program. I'm going to use paint.net, and we're going to draw a bullet hit effect. So I'm going to make a new image this size, and I'm just going to delete this and draw a quick circle here from one corner to the other. I'm going to fill it. Let's actually fill it with a different color, like gray. Or the outline be gray. Yeah, that looks okay. So I'm going to save this as bullet hit in our Unity project folder. That would be tutorial assets. Let's just save it there for now. Okay. And back in Unity, I'm going to drag the bullet hit onto this quad to make it a material. And now I'm going to take the bullet hit and we're going to some material. Here it is. We're going to set it to cutout. Or transparent, maybe no. We're going to do, it's a good shader. Unlit, transparent cutout. That'll do for now. So this is a huge bullet hit, so I'm going to scale this quad down to about 0.1, 0.1, and we'll leave the Z at 1 because that's just, it doesn't matter for this. So now we have our bullet hit here. So I'm going to also add a particle system to this, which will play when it's instantiated. And so I'm going to come here and I'm going to rotate a bit up. Alright, now I'm going to make, let's see, shape. I'm going to set the radius to 0.1, 0.05 maybe. And we're also going to set the speed to about 4 or 3. And usually making a particle system like this will just take a lot of tweaking and trial and error in order to get the right effect. I'm also going to set the start size to 0.0. 0.1 maybe, and I'm going to make it slightly random. 0.05 to 0.1. And I'm going to set the duration to 1 and the lifetime to 1, or the lifetime to 0.5 even. Gravity to 1. And emission, I'm going to say rate over time 0 and add in some bursts. It's going to be a count of 15. Or actually, we'll make it a random count. 10 to 15. Alright, and then I'm going to do color over lifetime, and just near the end here we're going to taper it off to fading out. At the start we're going to have it fade in a bit. Right, maybe some size over lifetime. Expand this and just gradually get smaller. I'll make the lifetime a little longer here and random so that they don't all die at the same time. 0.8 to 1.2 maybe. And start speed, I'm going to make random also. 1, 2, 3. Alright, so that's looking okay for now. I'm also going to set a random start color to orange and red, somewhere between. Maybe I'll make a little bit higher start speed, and you can have it. Okay, so now in our prefabs, I'm going to make this a prefab, and I'm going to delete it from our scene. And back to our player controller script, I'm going to reference game object bullet hit prefab. And down in our shoot here, if it hits anything at all, it doesn't even have to be damageable, then we'll say game object, no, actually we don't even need to, instantiate bullet hit prefab, hit dot point, hit dot normal, and we're going to have to do quaternion dot Euler, or Euler. Still not used to pronouncing that. Let's see if that works. I'm not sure if that'll work, but we'll see. Bullet hit, play. And so as you can see, it instantiates a bullet hit where we shoot the ground, and it also kind of clips into the ground there. See, and it doesn't align to the proper rotation either. And also, the sparks all loop, which is not what we want. So I'm gonna go into our bullet hit prefab here and make sure this does not loop. And back in here, from to rotation vector 3 dot hit dot normal, and I believe this will give us the proper rotation that we want our bullet hit to be in, so that it aligns to the face of the object. And also what we're going to want to do is hit dot point plus hit dot normal times 0.05f, and that's just going to raise it a little bit above the surface where it hits so that it doesn't clip into the surface. And so now if we shoot something, you can see that the oh wow, okay. They have colliders too, which is something that I was not prepared for. So if we shoot, you can see that it makes a bullet effect in the ground, and it has some sparks fly out, and it aligns to the proper rotation, as you can see on these here. One of the problems we're going to have to fix now is that the bullet quad actually has a collider, and we'll just remove that, because we don't want bullet holes to collide with anything. So now if we shoot something, you can see that the bullet holes will align to that object's rotation. There we go. So everything is working well. We can shoot and we can have it aligned to objects. Let's actually just make a few more enemies here real quick. Just to see what it's like. Now if we start, we can kill all these enemies. Alright, and nice. And we do get these bullet objects floating a bit, and so we'll fix that maybe in the next episode. But for now, that's it. I'll see you next time. Bye.